Good evening, everyone, and good evening, my most experienced panelist over here. I think I'll just like to go a step back and I think refer to one of the points which Amotsa mentioned, that I think almost 8-10 years back, if somebody spoke about e-governance, and then I think it was really a big question mark and people were surprised that what is it. I'll just take maybe even a couple of years back when the infrastructure projects were coming up and we were talking about SWANs and we were talking about SDCs, and I remember being part of some of the panels and somebody says, why do we really need such kind of IT infrastructure? Because there are no applications and there are no traffic happening at these environments, so why are we really building that up? If you remember, the point which again I used to make that point of time, and I think a lot of people supported it is about building those highways. If you relate it to this example, it is like we are building that highway, the traffic will come. And I'm so happy to be part of this panel today, where today we are talking about that traffic, today we are talking about those applications, today we are talking about service delivery to the citizens. So end of the day, if we talk about any service delivery or the application which is in discussion, back at the back end, we are actually talking about some application running in some part of the data center, leveraging or being accessed through some of the IT infrastructure. So one of the context which I like to bring over here, and maybe my speech is more around that, is DevOps as the concept. So from development of a life cycle of this thing to primarily the complete operation part of it. And there are 3 C's which I look at around DevOps as the concept. The first one is where we talk about constraint in primarily doing a development of a particular application over there. So today, again, one of the points Mr. Virendra mentioned is if 2 databases can talk to each other, it will be so easy for maybe a state to do a dedupe. Yeah, it will be so easy for a state to do a dedupe over there. But do we have that application ready which the 2 states can actually, the 2 databases can talk to each other? Why the challenge is because either one of the application is not available, or the IT infrastructure which we are talking about, maybe the platform, maybe the service, maybe the environment is not available to do the application development when a legacy application or a third-party application is in picture. So can we really look at how do we mitigate the risk or the environment which is depending on third-party and take away the constraint on doing a application development perspective? So that's primarily the first C which primarily is in picture. The second C which primarily talking about is continuous application delivery. So can we really look at the challenges what most of the government organization or department face today? That challenge is typically because most of the application rollout today is either manual, which is depending on people who write script at multiple stages of application development. The first stage is obviously the development part, then you move into testing, then you have a UAT, then you have a pre-op, and then finally into a production environment. And also it is very time consuming. So you may talk about weeks before you can actually roll out a new application, or that can be new application, can be actually months, and we all know that the government is facing that challenge. But even if you want to roll out a new version or sometimes even a new form to a particular application, it can really take weeks over there. So how can we really take care of this second C of continuous application rollout and do a complete release automation across all the applications which have been rolled down into the data center? The third C obviously relates to efficiency and the effectiveness of that application. So continuous application delivery. Can we really look at mechanism where each component of the application is also being looked at? Like one of my panelists mentioned that from an end user perspective, so do we have a mechanism to look at how end user experience is happening on any of the services he's trying to access, whether it's on his mobile, whether he's going to a particular kiosk or he's trying to access from his home, he should have a seamless experience to that particular application. At the same time, when we have set up infrastructure like data centers, do we have the right technology in data centers to monitor those critical applications, saying, do they understand where are the errors happening when a citizen is trying to access any of the service delivery? So these are the 3 C's which we should be really considering when we talk about DevSop. And this is the stage, and I'm so happy to be part of this journey where we have moved from just the setting up of IT infrastructure, which was SWANS and SDC, and today we are talking about the focus is more from citizen perspective, and the focus is definitely from application environment, saying, and how can we make it more user friendly to citizens and from a service delivery perspective. So